Okay, so before we cover the very hard stuff, which is going to be way down the road, we're going to cover very everyday things that you should practice within ZBrush. But before we do that, we have to kind of go into the navigation of things, which is always the case. And navigation is a very boring thing, but if you get hung up on navigation, it gets very frustrating as an artist. Okay, so navigation. The best thing I can do to show you navigation is draw out something onto the gray matter here. So let's go over and get an object. Let's go get a square. That way when we rotate around it, it looks cool. So click and drag the square out and hit edit. Alright, so average everyday square until you hit frame and realize that the square has some kind of um, weirdness going on with it, where it has all these triangles meeting into a middle of a polar cap. But again, if you click and drag anywhere on the gray matter, it will rotate around. If you do not get this effect, you forgot to click edit. Now let's do a few things here. Let's unclick edit just for the heck of it. And click and drag and drag and click and drag, and you get all these boxes. Okay? So you're placing a 3D object in 2D space, and it will always be that way until you click edit. And then you can rotate around it again. If you want to clear out all the stuff in the background, all you do is have to go layer and then clear. You have your original box. Now, let's look at other things that you can do with the navigation. If I go over to move, click it and drag around, it will move the square. If I go to scale, click and drag, it will scale it. And the same with rotate. Now you might think that why have a rotate when you could just go in here and rotate, but if you get a really big scene with lots of parts, rotate actually comes in handy. Because I don't have to be in the gray matter, maybe the gray matter gets taken up all the way around, I can now go into the rotate command and rotate it here. Now, other things that come in handy is the fact that you can hold shift and click. And what this will do is absolutely position it in some axes. Shift, click, shift. Alright, now, another thing that comes in handy every once in a while is the fact that you can go and turn off the local rotation on a certain object. Let's say I only want to rotate this in Y. You can see I can only rotate it in Y. And I can only rotate it in Z. And notice there's no X. But, there we go. Again, always remember this frame. I'm going to be using it constantly with you. Alright, so that's the 101 of navigation within the program. Don't get hung up too much on any of these menus just yet, because you should learn a workflow that kind of gives you into the practice of things, and then go into the little tiny, deformation palettes and all those scary things. Alright, so on with the lessons.